A short time ago, the United States military began major combat operations in Iran. Our objective is to defend the American people by eliminating imminent threats from the Iranian regime, a vicious group of very hard, terrible people. Its menacing activities directly endanger the United States, our troops, our bases overseas, and our allies throughout the world. For 47 years, the Iranian regime has chanted death to America and waged an unending campaign of bloodshed and mass murder, targeting the United States, our troops, and the innocent people in many, many countries. Among the regime's very first acts was to back a violent takeover of the U.S. Embassy in Tehran, holding dozens of American hostages for 444 days. In 1983, Iran's proxies carried out the Marine barracks bombing in Beirut that killed 241 American military personnel. In 2000, they knew and were probably involved with the attack on the USS Cole. Many died. Iranian forces killed and maimed hundreds of American service members in Iraq. The regime's proxies have continued to launch countless attacks against American forces stationed in the Middle East in recent years, as well as U.S. naval and commercial vessels in international shipping lanes. It's been mass terror, and we're not going to put up with it any longer. From Lebanon to Yemen and Syria to Iraq, the regime has armed, trained, and funded terrorist militias that have soaked the earth with blood and guts. And it was Iran's proxy, Hamas, that launched the monstrous October 7th attacks on Israel, slaughtering more than 1,000 innocent people, including 46 Americans, while taking 12 of our citizens hostage. It was brutal, something like the world has never seen before. Iran is the world's #1 state sponsor of terror and just recently killed tens of thousands of its own citizens on the street as they protested. It has always been the policy of the United States, in particular, my administration, that this terrorist regime can never have a nuclear weapon. I'll say it again, they can never have a nuclear weapon. That is why in Operation Midnight Hammer last June, we obliterated the regime's nuclear program at Fordow, Natanz, and Isfahan. After that attack, we warned them never to resume their malicious pursuit of nuclear weapons, and we sought repeatedly to make a deal. We tried. They wanted to do it. They didn't want to do it. Again, they wanted to do it. They didn't want to do it. They didn't know what was happening. They just wanted to practice evil. But Iran refused, just as it has for decades and decades. They've rejected every opportunity to renounce their nuclear ambitions, and we can't take it anymore. Instead, they attempted to rebuild their nuclear program and to continue developing long-range missiles that can now threaten our very good friends and allies in Europe, our troops stationed overseas, and could soon reach the American homeland. Just imagine how emboldened this regime would be if they ever had and actually were armed with nuclear weapons as a means to deliver their message. For these reasons, the United States military is undertaking a massive and ongoing operation to prevent this very wicked, radical dictatorship from threatening America and our core national security interests. We are going to destroy their missiles and raise their missile industry to the ground. It will be totally, again, obliterated. We're going to annihilate their Navy. We're going to ensure that the region's terrorist proxies can no longer destabilize the region or the world and attack our forces and no longer use their IEDs or roadside bombs, as they are sometimes called, to so gravely wound and kill thousands and thousands of people, including many Americans. and we will ensure that Iran does not obtain a nuclear weapon. It's a very simple message. They will never have a nuclear weapon. This regime will soon learn that no one should challenge the strength and might of the United States Armed Forces. I built and rebuilt our military in my first administration, and there is no military on earth even close to its power, strength, or sophistication. My administration has taken every possible step to minimize the risk to U.S. personnel in the region. Even so, and I do not make this statement lightly, the Iranian regime seeks to kill. The lives of courageous American heroes may be lost, and we may have casualties. That often happens in war. But we're doing this not for now. We're doing this for the future, and it is a noble mission. We pray for every service member as they selflessly risk their lives to ensure that Americans and our children will never be threatened by a nuclear-armed Iran. We ask God to protect all of our heroes in harm's way, and we trust that, with his help, the men and women of the armed forces will prevail. We have the greatest in the world, and they will prevail. To the members of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard, the armed forces, and all of the police, I say tonight that you must lay down your weapons and have complete immunity, or, in the alternative, face certain death. So, lay down your arms. You will be treated fairly with total immunity, or you will face certain death. Finally, to the great, proud people of Iran, I say tonight that the hour of your freedom is at hand. Stay sheltered. Don't leave your home. It's very dangerous outside. Bombs will be dropping everywhere. When we are finished, take over your government. It will be yours to take. This will be probably your only chance for generations. For many years, you have asked for America's help, but you never got it. No president was willing to do what I am willing to do tonight. Now you have a president who is giving you what you want. So let's see how you respond. America is backing you with overwhelming strength and devastating force. Now is the time to seize control of your destiny and to unleash the prosperous and glorious future that is close within your reach. This is the moment for action. Do not let it pass. May God bless the brave men and women of America's armed forces. May God bless the United States of America. May God bless you all. Thank you.
Well, it looks like it's happening. There are a lot of people on Twitter that are mad because apparently they think that we are going to war because we have launched attacks on Iran. The thing is that what I do not understand is that a lot of them are acting shocked, like appalled that Trump would even do this, like it came out of nowhere. They have been signaling this for months. Do people not remember? And if I look a little upset, it's because, by the way, it's because I'm looking at my live stream and I'm losing frames. I'm at almost 20% of dropped frames, and that is absolutely unacceptable. But I can't do anything about the fact that the internet is dog shit here in Panama. Beside the point, let's get back on topic. He had been saying this for months. Do people not remember, like a month and a half ago, 2 months ago, he was telling the Iranian people that to keep protesting, that help was on the way? We knew that he was moving military assets to the Middle East near Iran. So why does this come as a shock to a lot of people? And again, these other people say, "Oh, we're going to war. We're going to start a new forever." That's not what's happening at all. The same people who are saying we are going to World War III over this were the same people who were saying we were going to go to World War III over the last attack last summer, over what we did in Venezuela. Everything that Trump does to these people is we're going to war. And listen, I'm anti-war too. I do not want American service members involved in no bullshit in the Middle East, because those people will never stop fighting. It's not going to happen. They will never stop fighting for whatever reason. And so us getting involved on the ground is never going to change anything. But the Iranian people have been subjugated for far too long. And not just that, because I'm sure we're not doing it for the Iranian people. Let's be honest. These are interests for Americans. The reasons we're doing it is for American interests, not because we care about the Iranian people. The same people who are saying, oh, he's not putting America first. He's not, and we're going to go over some tweets. He's taking us into these wars, and he's doing all of this stuff, and he's going to be the worst president. Brother, these are the leading sponsors of terrorism on the planet. This regime is the leading sponsor of terrorism on the planet. They constantly chant death to America, and they want to build a nuke so they can launch it at America. So at what point is that not making America first? To literally decapitate the regime, to get them out of power. I get not wanting to go to war. Again, I do not want to go to war. We already spent 20 years in Afghanistan, and what did we get out of that? Nothing. But we cannot literally just leave this terror regime to just do whatever it wants. Because we don't want war. Yeah, we don't want war. But not taking care of it now ensures that we have a war in the future. These people are so short-sighted. And I'm going to go over some of these comments. Let me see. So we have Vince Dow here. I follow him on YouTube. He does pretty good political analysis. And he basically has, let's separate hysteria from reality. This is not Iraq War 2.0. Trump explicitly called for the Iranian people to topple their own regime, which he did in that video I just played you. That's exactly what he did. And the current military buildup suggests nothing about an invasion. In fact, we evacuated our ground troops, which we did. Like Venezuela, Iran serves as a major regional access point for China and Russia. Like it or not, it is in America's geopolitical interest to take them off the chessboard. Losing Venezuela and Iran in months effectively checkmates China for decades and secures American hegemony. We are entering an age of empires and power politics, and Trump is playing to win. This is not to say the U.S. casualties or wider conflict are legitimate concerns. Iran cannot beat us via conventional means, but they can make it costly. Russia and China may feel cornered and want to get involved. This remains to be seen. Trump has taken a major gamble, but his gambles have paid off thus far. The Iranian government is not as strong as it portrays. They are ideological fanatics who turned a successful country into a backwards, third-world dump. Their economy sucks and their people are revolting because they've invested more in war and terrorism than in their own people. That's not CIA propaganda. That's just reality. And it's true. The Iranian money is effectively worth nothing when trading next to the dollar. Iranian people can't even feed themselves. Tehran, the capital of Iran, ran out of water. They do not have water for their citizens. This is the reason why the people came out and protested the Iranian regime. And what did Iran do in turn? Killed over 30,000 people. They have to go. And again, these are the same people who literally chant death to America at every chance they get. Every chance they get. Death to America. Death to America. Death to America. They want to build a nuke to literally launch it at the United States. They're the ones who want to start World War III. And so it's time that we deal with them now, because if the anti-war, let's just have peace, guys. I get it, bro. I get it. But these people don't think like you. Just if we retreat and we do nothing, we just let them be, they're not going to stop. It's not going to change their mind. They don't think like you. If we retreat and do nothing about these people trying to build nukes to attack the U.S., eventually they will build the nukes and attack the U.S. And then what will you say then? Oh, then the war will be justified. But at that point, how many Americans' lives did we lose? But that's just because, oh, you didn't want to go to war. Oh, we shouldn't be attacking Iran. Iran never did anything to me. Yeah, but they want you dead as an American. They haven't done anything to you because they can't. Because we've never allowed them to do anything. What happens when they gain the capability to actually do something? If we just leave them alone? I feel like the look is so short-sighted, and people are going to call me a warmonger. You can call me whatever you want. But reality is reality, bro. Reality is reality. Look at Sticks Hexenhammer, which is another YouTuber. I don't watch his content much anymore. I don't know. He just fell off my algorithm. I used to watch him every morning, but he says, call me naive, and you are, brother. You have very good political analysis, but this is very naive. Say I look like commie John Lennon, fine. I ask simply, can we please have peace? In the words of Veer, what's wrong with you people? Yeah, we want peace. You are correct in wanting peace. They don't want it. They don't want the peace. That's the problem. The problem is we can just say, hey, we're going to sit back and just do nothing and sit on our hands the entire time because we want peace. The Iranians don't want it. And I don't want to say the Iranians because that would be implicating the people, right? I mean the Iranian government, the Ayatollahs, the people in power. They don't want it. They want the destruction of America. Here's a comment by some user here that says, the U.S. tried peace for 47 years with Iran. They've been trying to negotiate. Even leading up to this attack, they were negotiating with Iran and told them, listen, you can never build a nuke. You can never have intercontinental ballistic missile capability. They didn't want any of it. So if we are negotiating in good faith and they are not, do we just say, oh, well, you know what? We're just going to leave it alone. We're just going to leave it alone. You know what? They don't want to do it. Whatever, I guess. We can't do that. We tried a peace with Iran for 47 years. 67 years with Cuba, 27 years with Venezuela. None of them wanted to play ball. So at some point, hey, you got to show people that you really are the strongest country on the planet with the strongest military and the biggest might. And again, Trump had been saying for weeks that help was on the way for the Iranian people. If Trump did not do anything, then all our other enemies, our world adversaries, would be calling our bluff. That would just embolden other countries to do other things. Because what would they say? Oh, Trump said he was going to help the Iranian people, and he did nothing. So that means he's all talk. He's just bluffing. He's all bark, no bite. But this puts our enemies on notice. It lets them know that, yo, this guy's not messing around. See, what about peace for the innocent men being brutally tortured before being executed and the woman being brutally tortured as well as raped and mutilated before being executed? This is finally their peace and it's good. Can't we all just get along? It's like a marriage where one person is amiable and the other wants to fight all the time. Exactly. We are the amiable ones. The ones that want to fight all the time are the Iranians. And again, when I say Iranians, please understand that I'm talking specifically about the people in control, the government, the people in power. And or even beat the crap out of you. You can only have so much peace as the assholes of the world are willing to provide if you refuse to fight back and end it, which is to say none at all. This is how you get peace. Iran has been the stabilizing factor in the Middle East for over 50 years, or for 50 years. That's true. The leading sponsor of terrorism in the world. You cannot have peace with a state religiously committed to your slaughter. See, the people in the West are, fundamentally view things in a logical way, in a sensible way. None of us want war. None of us want death. None of us want destruction. The biggest mistake that we make in the West as people is that we think that those people think like us. They don't think like us. It's the reason why groups like Hamas do not care about hiding behind children. So that when we attack and we inevitably kill children as a collateral, they can say, we're slaughtering children. They do not care for human life. They only care about advancing their goals. They do not think like us. And I think that that's the mistake that we, as people from the West, with a better morality, and I don't really like to say that, but I think that we have better morality if we think standing behind children in a war is bad. But, they don't think like us. That's the problem. See, and then we have these people. And then Luke Rutkowski, which is another guy I highly respected. He went on Timcast all the time. I'm assuming he does. I don't really listen to Timcast anymore. Tim Pool, because I don't know what happened a couple of years, but I just stopped listening to the guy. And so I'm sure he still goes on the show. But he's been like literally losing his fucking brain over this. Making literally these irrational like connections, these irrational points, things that make absolutely no sense. Let's see. Hold on. Let me see if I can find some of the tweets that I responded to earlier. Oh, there he is. Logically, everything is inconsistent unless you view it from a point of view of a regime change war that we're doing for the benefit of one country. Wink, wink. The country he's talking about is Israel, by the way. Because apparently the United States can't do anything for its own benefit. It has to be for Israel. It's not like Iran is literally trying to build nukes and intercontinental ballistic missiles to attack the United States. Not at all. They're not trying to do it. It's not like they're trying to do that. And so we're trying to prevent them from doing that. It's because we're doing it's for Israel. It's for Israel. And this is what I'm talking about. Its brain is fucking fried. Sorry, Luke, your brain is fucking fried, bro. How many times do they have to chant death to America for you to understand that they really mean death to America? And that us doing this has nothing to do with Israel. Everything can't go back to we're doing this shit for the Jews, bro. And that, you saying that takes away the power that Trump has. Like, Trump has no say in any of this whatsoever. The Jews control us, so we have to do everything for the Jews. It's ridiculous, bro. I'm convinced. Let me see if I can find another one of his tweets. I replied to a couple of them. Let me just go back to Twitter home. This is exactly what I said. Anthony Brian Logan, somebody I listen to from time to time on YouTube. The Iranian regime killed over 40,000 people after protesters hit the streets when Trump told them to help us on the way after Venezuela. Every day, hundreds more were executed by the regime. They went door to door. They killed people who weren't even political. It's true. And again, if Trump didn't do what he did, other countries would then be calling his bluff. Other countries would then just be calling his bluff. And then you got a piece of the action calling him a bootlicker. And Anthony Brian Logan response. It's easy to call people names online when you have the shield of anonymity, but you people never do anything that matters in your physical real world life. We were told Trump was the peace president. Again, this is peace through strength. We are not going to war. There are not going to be any boots on ground in Iran. I guarantee you there will not be any boots on ground in Iran. You clowns said the same thing last year. It was the same thing. You said we were going to war when we bombed Iran last summer. Where's the war? Same clowns who said we were going to war for capturing Maduro. Where's the war? There's been no war. You know, actually what this shows is that our enemies are actually bullshitters. Because China, Iran, and Russia didn't get involved when we went after the Venezuelan leadership. Venezuela, China, Iran, China, and Russia did not get involved when we bombed Iran last year. And we bombed them again this time, and they're not getting involved. What does that tell you? That maybe our enemies aren't as strong as they're willing to say, or maybe they're just not willing to back their quote-unquote friends. This really just shows how inept or incapable our enemies are actually of doing anything about anything that we do. Which is a good thing because it lets the world know, it establishes that America is number one. And that it is going to remain like that for the foreseeable future. Yes, some of you may die, but it is a sacrifice that Israel is willing to make. Shu, we watched the same speech. You are being disingenuous. You're being disingenuous about the speech. He was not talking about American boots on the ground. But if Iran launches retaliatory strikes in countries where we have bases and they get hit, some Americans may lose their lives. But it's not fighting a ground war. But again, I'm anti-war. This is somebody who served in the military, and I'm not for any fucking wars that we may have unless they're justified in the foreseeable future. But this isn't a war. And we have become so pussified because we spent 20 years in Afghanistan that we're not even willing to say it's okay to attack a country that wants us dead just so that we can take the head off the snake. We must just not do anything whatsoever. Anything. We just sit on our asses, sit on our hands, and do nothing. This is pretty much what these people want us to be now. What is the point of having the strongest military on the planet if you don't even want us to use it when we need to use it? You want us to just saber rattle with the strongest military on the planet. Then why even have a military? No new wars. Let's just dismantle the fucking military. Let's just get rid of it. We don't need it because you know what? No new wars ever. We don't need war. You know what? And the American people, we're all armed to the teeth anyway. So nobody's going to come and invade us. Let's get rid of our fucking military and let's just let the world do whatever it wants. That's literally what these people are asking for. That is the logic behind their stance on the no new wars. And again, I'm not for war. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm just talking about these people are no new wars and don't do anything whatsoever. Just retreat from the planet. So let's just get rid of the military. We don't need it. We don't need it. If we're going to retreat from the world, let's just get rid of the military and let the world fucking burn and do whatever it wants. We'll let China control everything. We'll let Russia control everything. Let's just... Ever since the Iraq invasion in 2003, we've been told by the predictors that the Iraq-style invasion of Iran was imminent. Since they've been so wrong for almost a quarter of a century without acknowledging it, I'm going to wait a bit longer than a day before I jump on the disaster train. There's sticks. Again, I suggest people stock up and arm up. What, you think Iran, their invasions are coming to our front step? The reason Saudi Arabia joined was because Iran just attacked like 6 countries that were either neutral with them or their allies. For what reason? Because the U.S. and the U.S. and Israel did a joint attack on Iran? Why not attack Israel? You know what would be cool? If politicians actually kept their word and honored their service to the American people. Yeah, this is him keeping his word. We are not at war. But the thing is that I don't understand how these people don't understand that Trump has been very consistent in the way that he operates. He has been saying from his very first administration that Iran must not be allowed to get a nuclear weapon. And he has been in good faith trying to negotiate that deal with them. And they have refused time and time and time again. So at what point do we say enough is enough? You don't want to, in good faith, you don't want to stop what you're doing. At what point do we say, now it's time for us to do something? Because clearly talking to you isn't working. At what point do we say that? I'm curious to know. At what point do we say that? Increasingly obvious that Megyn Kelly, Tucker Carlson, and Candace Owens' brains are entirely irrevocably broken. Yeah, I don't know what happened to Tucker Carlson. I'm assuming this has to do with something with this is going on. I've never been a follower of Tucker Carlson. He was very popular on Fox, but never really liked him. Just like I never really liked Candace. Now Megyn Kelly, I do like. I think she's good, but I don't know what's going on right now. I haven't really looked at anything that she said in particular. But obviously Candace Owens is fucked, and Tucker Carlson has been going on this anti-American tour for like the last year and a half. I think it's been a little longer than that. I was a child during 9/11 in the GWAT. My family served in multiple deployments. I was still raging when I was in high school. Boys from my small town enlisted in mass. They came back like ghosts, if at all. We were promised an end to this kind of suicidal governance. Daily Wire. Andrew Tate says the ongoing military operation is theatrical. All right. The amount of fake news I'm seeing on my timeline right now is impressive. Looks like my vacation to Tehran is canceled. Turkey Tom. Let me see. Right before the strike on Iran's nuclear facility, Iran is not a threat. Immediately after the strike, the mission failed. Iran is closer than ever to having a nuclear.
Bear out the claim at this timeline of Iran being a few weeks away from a nuclear bomb is in direct contradiction to CNN's reporting. According to U.S. intelligence assessments, Iran.
Yeah, CNN knows or has better intelligence than our military. Sure, CNN.
Is 3 years away from being able to produce a nuclear weapon if they wanted to. So the facts on Iran getting a nuclear weapon do not bear out the claim at the heart of what has put the world on the verge of world war. Iran's uranium may still be intact and in Iranian control. 408 kilograms of it. Now, enough theoretically, according to experts, to make 9 nuclear weapons. It only set back the Iranian nuclear program by months. We got to call it like it is. It's a big deal. Sources tell CNN there is no U.S. intelligence that Iran is building missiles that could soon hit the United States. That's a really big deal. This timeline of...
Sure. Yeah, I'm going to trust CNN on this one, of course. Epic Fury, Lions Roar, U.S. military operations always sound like Axe body spray scents. Iranian foreign minister says Supreme Leader Khamenei and the president are both alive. Yes, they are alive. The head of the judiciary as well. The Speaker of Parliament as well. Everything is fine. Why is Megan Rapinoe day to day turning into, like, she's looking more like a fucking teenage boy, like a teenage skater boy? Yeah, Nancy Pelosi. Trump's decision to wage war in Iran will spark another unnecessary war that will put our soldiers at risk. Like Nancy Pelosi gives a shit. Fuck are you talking about, Nancy Pelosi? The only thing you give a fuck about is getting rich with through the stock market with insider trading. Hey everybody, Comic Dave is denouncing Trump again like he hadn't been already. We get it, dude. You don't like fucking Trump. You don't have to tell us. We knew that. And him, nothing was going to change your mind anyways. So, breaking news? By launching this illegal war of aggression against Iran, Donald Trump has betrayed the American people and his own base, none of whom wanted this. Why do you care? Because you're not part of his base and you don't care. You don't get to speak for the base when you are not part of it. He had sided with Lindsey Graham, Mark Levin, and Benjamin Netanyahu, the most despised laughingstocks on the planet, by announcing that this is indeed a regime change war, as anyone paying attention and being honest has known all along. He has tied his entire legacy to this action. If he isn't able to achieve regime change, he will have killed a bunch of people for no reason. If the regime does fall, we have already admitted that we have no one to install, and without boots on the ground, it is difficult to install a regime, even if you had someone. Trump will be responsible for what comes next, the thing war hawks never consider. Sure, Dave Smith, sure. And the thing that idiots like you never consider is that if we just leave Iran alone to do whatever the fuck they want, then they keep terrorizing and killing Americans. Do you know that Iran is actually responsible for the death of a bunch of Americans already, right? Like, I don't understand. I don't understand. At what point do we say enough is enough? At what point do we say this can't continue? We cannot let these people continue to terrorize the world or funding terrorist groups all across the planet. Something has to be done. And watch, in a few weeks, when all of this shit is said and done and nothing changed, what I mean is, like, we didn't actually get into an actual war, these people are going to go back to the fucking Epstein files. And they're going to pretend like they didn't have this take, like they weren't wrong, like every single time they've been wrong about Trump's actions. Because this is not the first time that Dave Smith has said something about this. Give me one sec. Oh, let me see this.
Sí, sí, van. Sí, ahí pegó.
Uy, chico, ahora sí se puso.
¿Qué pegó?
Le tiraron. ¿A qué le pegó?
Bueno, muchachos.
¿A qué le pegó? Algún cariño.
Me estás jodiendo, boludo. Mirá la grúa, boludo. ¿Se mueve la grúa? No. ¿La grúa que está en el edificio?
No veo nada yo.
¿A dónde está el avioncito, boludo?
Ya se fue. Ahí está.
Bajó,
Ahí
boludo.
se vio. Ahí se vio. Mirá el humo.
¿A dónde, boludo?
Dale, parate, dale.
Boludo.
Dale.
Qué locura, amigo.
That is crazy. Imagine that missile had hit the tallest building on the planet. That would have been insane. Don't care about what Elon Omar has to say. You're not American. Nobody cares what you think. Well said. Sidney Watson. Major breaking. Iran Supreme Leader Ayatollah Khamenei was killed in the Iran strikes per Israel's Channel 12 news report. This is a major game changer. Congratulations to President Trump.
President Donald Trump is from Israel Channel 12, who are now reporting that Ayatollah Ali Khamenei is dead.
Oh, wow.
That the Iranian supreme leader has been killed in the airstrikes launched by the United States and Israel today. A determined effort by President Donald Trump to topple the Iranian regime. And if true, the reports coming to us now from Israeli Channel 12 that Ayatollah Ali Khamenei is dead, then they have indeed toppled the very head of that regime. And the consequences and ramifications of that can only be guessed at, because we have also been reporting just in the last few minutes that the Iranian Defense Minister, Amir Nasirazdeh, and also the Iranian, I should say, commander of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, Commander Mohammed Pakpour, is also dead. These two top officials, one a military official, the other a civilian official in charge, of course, of the military, the Iranian Defense Minister, and the head of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, according to Reuters, quoting 3 Iranian sources, have been killed.
This is huge. If this is true, this is huge. But I'm going to reserve, saying that this is confirmed. Again, we don't know if this is true. This tweet was posted 2 hours ago. And then I saw something earlier. If we scroll back up, see, Iranian this was an hour ago. So Iranian foreign minister says Supreme Leader Khamenei and President are both alive. So we don't know yet.
Ago,
let's see what this
Ayatollah Ali Khamenei's compound, which can be seen in satellite photos as mere rubble. It's not clear whether the Ayatollah was there. Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi spoke to NBC moments ago and was asked to confirm whether the Ayatollah and the Iranian president are still alive.
As far as I know, yes, they are alive. And the head of judiciary as well, the head of the Speaker of Parliament as well, all high-ranking officials are alive. And the Secretary of the National Security Council. So everybody is now in its position, and we are handling this situation, and everything is fine.
There were hundreds. Ayatollah Ali Khamenei.
He says, as far as he knows, that doesn't mean that he is 100% sure that this is true. But again, the U.S. has not come out and confirmed anything either, so we don't know. This is a possibility. And if that is the case, that is huge. And I think that's good news for both the Iranian people and obviously the Americans. But again, crazy. Yeah, your delusional takes you're owning yourself. This is a delusional take because we're not going to war. Again, we're not going to war. Why do these people keep thinking that we're going to war? You know, the crazy thing is we have all these American patriots complaining, doing all this. Meanwhile, the Iranian people are actually celebrating. I saw a video earlier when I was in bed. I woke up to these news and I didn't even know. And they're all happy. It was the same thing that happened with Venezuela when we did what we did in Venezuela. We had actual Americans crying and complaining and saying, why did we do that to Maduro? But the Venezuelan people were out there cheering and celebrating that this was finally happening. This video is funny. I didn't watch it, but I read it. IRGC General says that they use their old weapons, that they still have something in store. Yeah, because that's exactly how war works. That's exactly how you do it. The way you do it is you use your bullshit weapons first, and then you save your best weapons for later, when much later those same weapon caches can be destroyed. Because if your enemy finds out about them and destroys them, then how are you going to use them? But let's see what he has to say.
ترامپ بداند ما برای اینکه سالها با شما بجنگیم از پیشرفته ترین امکانات امروز برخورداریم. اول جنگ هرچی ته انبار داریم میزنیم، اما در ادامه قوی ترین موشک هامون رو خواهیم زد. اون چیزی رو که تا الان رو نکردیم و به قول ما بچه ایرانی ها تو آب نمک خوابوندیم، اونها رو هم این روزا رو خواهیم کرد. ترامپ بداند.
Yeah, that's exactly how you do it. You use your weapons from the 80s first, your missiles from the 80s first. And then you wait for your enemy to destroy your newer equipment so that you can use it. Mm-hmm. Justin, Tucker Carlson speaks out against President Trump's decisions to attack Iran, calling it absolutely disgusting and evil. Tucker says it will destroy the MAGA movement. This is going to shuffle the deck in a profound way. They're stabbing Trump in the back to try and divide the coalition and hijack MAGA from him to control and cede the grounds for a candidate they have more influence over. Correct. I'm telling you, I don't know what happened to Tucker Carlson. I don't know what happened to Tucker Carlson. Because it's not just that he's anti-Trump. He has become extremely anti-American. He went to Moscow a few years back to literally propagandize their supermarkets as if the people in Russia aren't starving. Like we're just supposed to believe like everything is Gucci over there. Huh? Dubai rock. Let's see. Damn, Dubai got hit. That's crazy. Let me see.
Oh my God.
And then they wonder why Saudi Arabia joined the war. And these people are sick trying to use Charlie Kirk as... This is sick, man. Let that man rest in peace. Whatever opinions he had regarding war in Iran and whatever the case may be, the Middle East. Bro, he died recently. There should be... Right, look, I hadn't even read this. Using Charlie Kirk to justify your half-assed opinions. The appropriate thing to do is to share his words in full. I don't know if President Trump will continue to involve America against Iran, but he is a man I trust to be making that decision. Let's see what he had to say, but they should let this man rest in peace, brother.
Let's do some updates about Israel and Iran and potentially the United States.
Oh,
Right.
This is a 16-minute clip. No, we're not watching that. Malcolm Flex is another fucking weirdo that I had high regards for. And then he's like, he's spurging out He's spurging out over this. Like, come on, bruh. It's corny. He just has a bunch of retweets, but he was posting some dumbass shit earlier. There's Luke spurging out again. Okay, the Israeli conducted its largest military airstrike in history with about 200 fighter jets dropping hundreds of munitions on roughly 500 targets, including air defense systems and missile launchers across multiple locations in Iran simultaneously. Today is the day MAGA died. Time for real America first rise. Shut up, Robert. It's another... bro, these are all people. The crazy thing is, these are all people that I had respect for. All the people that I had respect for. And this is why I barely come on Twitter, and this is why I don't really follow a lot of these people anymore, and I don't give a shit about their opinions, because they're often wrong, and they're often making these insane fucking claims about things they know nothing about. And I'm not here claiming to be a geopolitical expert. I certainly am not. I'm just a guy with a microphone who gives his opinion. But these guys have been wrong time and time again. Like, they don't let the news come out before saying their bullshit, stupid opinions that oftentimes are fucking wrong. Just let the things play out first, and then we can talk about it. But nah, they can't do that. They have to come out. And again, these are the same people who came out every time right after Trump conducted any sort of operation that they didn't like. This is the day that MAGA died. I guarantee you, Monday or Tuesday, maybe by the end of the week, polls will be conducted on this, and the majority of the Republican Party, not on Twitter, will be 100% in agreement with this. And I think most Americans will probably be in agreement with this. But these are people who live on Twitter, who don't get their news from anywhere else but Twitter, and from the people they follow, who do nothing but post outrageous shit for clicks just so they can earn a little bit of fucking Elon money. And that's it. These people live in a bubble, and the reason why they post all these crazy, outrageous shits is because it drives engagement. And that's how they make their money. But they do not actually live in the real world or get real news. Yep, look, Saudi Arabia
The Kingdom
has
of
joined.
Saudi Arabia says they will join the What I can say is new right now. We're just getting word that the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia says they will join the U.S. in the operation against the Islamic Republic of Iran. They said that this comes in the wake of Iran attacking the U.S. base in Saudi Arabia. I just spoke to a senior U.S. official who said the Iranians made a big mistake by firing on Arab coalition partners. Now they are likely to respond. So by Iran firing missiles at UAE, Bahrain, Qatar, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, and Jordan, they are now likely to fire back at Iranian targets. So those coalition partners are now going to enter this operation that started off as a U.S.-Israeli operation. That is very, very significant, and we haven't seen that happen in the past. The U.S. military has been focusing on high-value targets, I'm told, the IRGC, significant facilities. What I can say is...
Things are getting spicy. Look, guys, I just wanted to get on here and do a quick stream just to talk about this, give you guys my thoughts. As more develops, I'll have more videos out. Obviously, I'll talk about this on Monday. I'll probably talk about this tomorrow. I'll probably go live. Obviously, we'll probably have more news. I'll probably go live. That's something that I've been thinking about doing, going live every Sunday. So this Sunday, I'll probably go live. Tomorrow. And this will be pretty much what I start my streaming, my weekly stream with, I guess. So thanks for tuning in. If you tuned in, I'll see you guys in the next stream. Peace.